My name is Ted Garcia. My native name is Sulwaisun Naiset, which means very respected bear. That name was given to me by my family. I am Tataviam, among other things, but that's one that I'm most associated with. Our family was in Santa Clarita, in the Santa Clarita Valley, and prior to that on the Tejon Reservation.
Bosho Nikon, a Kiwin Kikwe in Deshnekash, Bode Wadme, Mina Nishnabe. What I just said to you is hello, my friend. Kiwin Kikwe is my name. I am Potawatomi of the people.
My name is Gray Wolf. I am from a tribe called the Yoem tribe from Tucson, Arizona. My people range from northern Mexico all the way into southern Arizona. We are a desert tribe, and we are closely related to the southern Apache people.
Hello, my name's Gilbert Answeta. I'm Chumash Indian, Southern California, and my Indian name is Alkiklik. It means actually he who watches over. And I was given that name primarily because I had started out trying to save the culture or keep it going.
As we all know, storytelling is from an oral tradition. The stories that I tell and that we hear come from the past, and they're passed on orally. The stories come from the old tradition, but there are stories that are contemporary from today's times that are very important to teach children and people about today's times, the lessons that come from today. But the messages that come from the past are also very important because they're the foundation of everything. They're the ones that continue, that keep us continuing in our paths to tell stories and to keep, it important for people to learn about things that are important in life, things that can be harmful to you, things that can be something for you to think about to put you on the right path. The stories always tell you about the importance of taking only what's needed, especially from our lands. In today's time, everything is supposedly be for the better. The technology that we have makes life better, but in essence, what it is doing is taking more than what we need, and it's taking away from what we have. It's taking away from nature faster than nature can produce it for us. And we're polluting our water, and we're tearing down our natural resources. Where things, the things that we have, they came from at one time. One day they'll be depleted, and where will we be then? We won't have what we need, and we'll all be sorry. It'll be a day where the water's not fit to drink, the air's not fit to breathe, and there'll be nothing to replace that because we've used it up.
One of the things that's most unique about our artwork in the American Indian culture is that it tells stories. Some of these stories were to mark the history of the year or accounts of different events. Some of them were simply like a calendar, and others were family stories. The Potawatomi, for example, in ancient days kept scrolls. They would use what some people refer to as syllabics or symbols on birch bark, and they would roll them up and keep them and pass them down like small history books. There are certain stories that would never be written down. sacred stories or stories about ceremony, how they're performed. And they would teach ceremony only to certain people that were chosen by the elders. So some of those stories would not be incorporated into art. So it became important to almost every tribal culture in the Americas to create everyday wares with a mark of beauty, with some form of art, whether it was with natural paints or with the stitching on of porcupine quills, or using the fur hides to decorate something. The art depicted in certain paintings, even in today's modern world, art, the contemporary art, sometimes they just will depict a moment in time or imply a ceremony, something that happens at a specific ceremony perhaps, without giving away the whole creation story or the whole ceremony itself. Just something to honor the fact that our ceremonies are that important to us. For many, many years after European contact, we weren't allowed to maintain our ceremonies or practice our ceremonies as we once did. So we began putting them more into our artwork at that time. Even today, there are people who have ancient weavings of prophecies. They have weavings that they've held onto for centuries that have prophecies. And they're all considered sacred, and they're all kept very private. The only other reason that they would do the art would be to give gifts or make what we call giveaway. And so there's the recording of history, also to make things around us more beautiful. And then there's the art of giving away. Some things were made just specifically as honor gifts to their elders or the holy people or the medicine people. And when I say medicine people, I don't mean the two-leggeds. I mean as offerings to the plants that were our medicine, which we would call the medicine people. The plants are really the medicine people. The people who took care of the plants or knew how to use them, we would give them honor gifts because they had that ability and because they were chosen to learn that ability. But not everyone was taught that. It's a different world when you can go there in your mind and in your imagination. And I use that as my place to go and relax when I pray and meditate. Just remembering the stories from my uncles and my grandfather about how they were taught and the stories that they were told about our ancestors. And one of the stories about the dream catchers comes from the Ojibwe people, which was one of the 7 nations around the Great Lakes, so we're considered cousins. And there was the story that begins with a brand new mom, her first baby, and the baby would never stop crying. And the mom was very tired because she was up with the baby day and night. Because when in our culture, a child is one of the most sacred beings, precious, and to be nurtured and cared for and to never be afraid. And she would hold this child all the time so to comfort it. And she was sleepless and very tired and at her wit's end, so to speak. And she was walking along a path with her child, basically worrying about what could she do. And a very, very old woman came up to her and gave her a dream catcher and told her how to make them. And said, you put this where your baby sleeps. tie it somewhere near where your baby is sleeping. And she did this. She made a dream catcher for her baby, and she put it above where the baby sleeps. And the baby quietened down and slept and slept. And then she remembered the story that the lady told her when she taught her how to make the dream catcher, which was the weaving that makes up the center of the dream catcher catches the bad dreams and the scary things and gets them all tangled up in the web. And the good dreams are allowed to come down to the baby. So that is one story of the dream catcher, especially of the Woodlands people, that I'm particularly fond of.
Stories are used to teach the children lessons in life, and we also use stories to teach the history of the people. One of the basic things you teach the children is that all life is sacred, and that you do not kill anything on Mother Earth just for the fun of killing. That's why we don't believe in hunting for sport. So as Native people, we are the caretakers of the land, and that is one thing that's very important to us. We try to leave the land better than when we found it, and the way we do that is by protecting Mother Earth, because that is so important to us. You know, we are the children of Mother Earth, and yet we forget that. Well, we learn from animals. We learn a lot of different stories. That most of these stories that we teach the children come from animals, because kids can relate to animals. One of the stories that I like a lot is from the Chumash people. We are on Chumash land, and so I have learned a couple of the stories of the Chumash. And it's interesting, the story that is about the Sky Sisters and the woodpecker. The woodpeckers here have red tops, red feathers on the top of their heads. And we teach the children that the woodpeckers were at one time always all black. They knew that the Sky Sisters had a lot of acorns, and they would keep them up in where they lived. And so the woodpeckers went to the Sky Sisters and said, "We're hungry. Can we have some acorns?" And the Sky Sister says, "Yes, we can give you some acorns, but you really should be looking out for your own acorns, because there's only a certain amount of acorns here. So you have to learn how to put acorns away for the winter." The woodpeckers did not listen, and they came back and they ate up all the acorns. They came back and they said, "We need some more acorns because we're hungry again." Sky Sister says, "Okay, we're going to give you these last acorns, but then you have to go out and get your own. You have to learn how to work for yourselves." The woodpeckers waited for the Sky Sisters to leave, and they went to where the Sky Sisters lived, and they stole a lot of the acorns. As they were stealing the acorns, the Sky Sisters came back, and they were very powerful women, and they could make fire come out of their fingers. So they, when they saw the woodpeckers stealing the acorns, they drew fire from their fingers and they burned the tops of the woodpeckers. And now they have red feathers on top. So they said, "This will teach you not to steal, number one, but now because you have red feathers on the top of your head, we will be able to, you can't sneak in and steal anymore." And so this teaches the children that they have to work for what they want. They can't just take, you can't take something that does not belong to you. Each animal in native culture, for example, has a certain power. For the Lakota and the Plains people of the South Dakota area, a buffalo is a very powerful animal. To most tribes, eagles have very much power because they are the messengers of God, or the messengers of the Creator. They live here on Earth, but yet they fly high and they can go to the Creator. So if you have a prayer or something that you want to tell the Creator, you tell the eagle, and he takes it up there for you. Today, a lot of tribes honor hawks, and the hawks do the same job. They are the little brothers of the eagle. For some tribes, owls are very sacred animals. For very many tribes, the owl is the bringer of death or the bringer of bad news. But for some tribes, he's also called a night eagle because he does in the night what the eagle does in the day. He is the messenger of God. So you have to remember that not all tribes think alike, not all tribes have the same idea of what animals mean, but all animals do have a power. Unfortunately, what is happening is that we are forgetting these things. These are the things that have made our people what they are for thousands of years, and little by little we are forgetting these things.
With the many stresses of today's world and our society, it's hard sometimes to stay focused or stay centered. This world nowadays is pulling you so many different ways and you get lost. So when I go out and sit at the ocean there, at the coast, on the beach, listen to the waves come back and forth, and I put in my mind being part of the water, how it comes back and forth, and how it washes over you and cleanses the earth. And I do that with my mind at the same time. So I listen to the water, goes back and forth and brings my breathing back to center. And then as the waves are crushing it, like crushes the bad stuff away and takes it away. If I have something I need to think about, I may go walk among the oak trees here and sit under a tree. These trees have been here for so long, they have so much wisdom in them. And I can just sit here and I try to imagine what this tree has seen through its whole life. I gather energy from that to help me keep on going and teaching and moving forward. Everything in nature, if you actually sit there and just watch it or listen to it, hear what the leaves blow in the wind and they rustle, how the birds live in it and the animals. The tree is like a smaller part of our life, and everything around us that comes to us, we can make it bad or we can make it good, and we can work together. And it demonstrates how everybody can work together. The wind through the trees, keeping it clean, not dusty. The birds that live in it eat the fruit. Even the little bugs that live there, they get all their nourishment. The trees can be like we should be, strong, able to hold things up, able to help people. To me, that's what nature's about. For me to develop strength and power and understanding of our universe, our world, we use a reference as medicine or medicine bags or your medicine pouch. You're off in the woods walking, you have a beautiful day. Maybe pick up a little rock or something that's, that will help you remember this day. And you put it in your pouch. That's more medicine, more power. Sometimes when you gotta come out and you gotta really feel bad about things or how your life might be going on, you can look at that and open your medicine bag up and look at all the wonderful things you've done. And that brings you back to center, it focuses you. Or look back at what you've done and put a smile on your face that says, I've done good in this life. I've created a path for people to follow and help them guide their own ways so they can be strong inside too. So as they move on, they make a path for somebody else, as we pass on our stories. And it just continues and continues and hopefully spreads like this so that everybody can do it, That's one of my forms of ideas of medicine. Just try to heal each person, individuals, we share. The more we share, I think the better life will be for all of us.